everyone, and welcome back. Here we are. I'm going to be playing a deck focused around a card that didn't quite get a lot of love. Commander players obviously know this card very, very well, and that is Magda. I have this alternate art on here. I'm not quite sure how I even got it, but I have this alternate art on here. But whenever I commit a crime, create a treasure or tap treasure token. This ability only triggers once each turn. Sacrifice 3 treasures, create a 4/4 red scorpion dragon creature token with flying and has haste, activate only as a sorcery. Main thing there too is that dragon actually doesn't end up going away. But what can we do with this card in a deck like Rakdos, or kind of, I guess, the mono black deck with some red cards splashed in? And that is using something like Tiny Bones on turn 1 that we've already evaluated as a pretty good solid card, make our opponent discard, things like that. Use this on turn 1. Play Magda on turn 2, have Tiny Bones target our opponent, which this is on an ETB, so Magda's trigger will go on a stack before our opponent will be able to remove that, because that's how this will end up working. So even if they remove it, we end up like cashing in on making a treasure. We still ping them a little bit if that matters, and then we could play something like a Shieldred on turn 3, or play like a Liliana holding up a cut down, or play a Karavek with this triggering, and then maybe play another one, and then we get to do a lot of nonsense like that. And it's very, very cool that way. The other thing that we can kind of do in this deck is we can experiment if playing the top end card like Gissa that does seem super powerful, and maybe get a little bit more value out of her with playing this Magda in play, so that like we're looking to play this on turn 4 with maybe a Tiny Bones, which will commit that crime for free, making the zombies, and then we're holding up also like a cut down for that 1 mana off the treasure or something that we've made prior. So other than that, I mean, we're basically, like I've said in the past, we're like in this mono black shell, and we're splashing some red cards, and also like playing a really strong card like Inti and Molten Collapse, and we're going to see how this kind of works out and prepare ourselves for adding some cards in the future. For example, like the Lizard Assassin that has the landfall, which I think will go incredibly well in this deck. So we'll obviously see some of these cards trimmed down and be a little bit more 1-drops, because I think it'll be strong with something like Magda, where we play a land, it pings our opponent, Magda makes a treasure, so we're not missing out on that value and stuff like that. So other than that, I hope you all enjoy, and let's just go ahead and hop into the games. If you enjoy the content, please consider subscribing. I truly appreciate it. And we got about a few more days. We got a few more days, and then we're finally out there. We're ready to play the new set, and I'm pretty excited. So let's just go out and game. What goes first? You have Magda into potentially some removal into Magda if we don't hit land, and then we have Preacher into Shieldred into Judith. I mean, you want to talk about a curve, we have it. It's just whether or not we get there. Talia would be gross here. Seems about right. We do hit land, so fortunately enough, we still have a play to make. And then even if they say Brutal Cathar this, I can then go for the Throat the Creature that has under it, or well, I don't like that at all. You see that? Kind of hard, but like the card art at the top, like this little black fade here, is like breaking up. I don't like that at all, chat. That's some grossness to me, my guy. All right, so now we have options, and I think the best option is just to hold removal. As much as that kind of sucks, even though I like playing Preacher here, I still think we just hold removal to get this out of the way, and then maybe block something like if they play land into Adeline. Well, they went first and they missed the land, I guess. Kind of weird that we caught that. Oh yeah, dude, it's starting to make me so mad just looking at it there. Double attack? I would say that's kind of rogue, my guy. I want less damage, and I'm going to make a treasure, so I don't care about a Thalia coming down next turn, because I can then just play my Shieldred. Right? I'm already committing the crime. Doesn't matter if they remove Magda there. I could technically have a get lost or something, but no blocks for me. I want Magda to really die. I think Magda can help me push this advantage super hard. And then remember, this only happens once a turn, so something we do have to worry about. There is that. Huh. Let's play a Preacher? I think so. I'm playing Preacher, and then they'll just have to figure out whether they want to commit more to the board, and I'll just deluge it. Because what's good here is if I do the deluge, I can then attack with my preacher, triggering it, making a token after. Oh, here comes the knight errant. You ready? No. All right. Yeah, I think we're gonna get a concession here, but that's fine. Very nice. Pop their board. I keep my board around, and then I just attack. I'll make a 1/1. We go from there. Now, if they start hitting lands, they might stick around, but which they do immediately. So this implies Imadanes. Well, that we know Imadanes is in the deck. Second Thalia, not as big, but not as big of a concern as it once was. I know, chat. Words, they're hard on me, man. It's a tough world out there. Let us get the action down with the preacher. And I think I just hold here. Thalia, annoying enough, but I take my turn off by killing it now anyway. Also, I've been missing lands as well, but the Magda actually saved us there, which is kind of interesting. Like, normally, we'd be stuck just casting 3 drops, and like these would be really awkward and weird. But sure. Here comes Warden. I'm still probably removing the Thalia. I could remove Warden if I wanted to, but there's the main piece. Huh. Now we have a choice. Let's see what happens. See how they try to go to combat. I guess I just removed this, right? Actually, and I also think I use a bigger spell here. Yeah, I just removed the Thalia. And the reason I use a bigger spell is so now Cut Down and both Bitter Triumph will be available without having to use my treasure. My thing, right, is if they attack with the officer, I block and then I block the 1/1 and nothing happens. We just don't, they don't get any value. They actually just end up losing a creature there for doing that. Now I can attack with my preacher again and my life total is higher. So like, just going to draw a card. Get my information first. Alright, there's some land. I also didn't scry, by the way, which is a little interesting. Now I just play this land, and honestly, kind of just don't even want to budge here. I think I just wait again. It might have protection spell, but I don't think I get blown out by it. A second Warden. Line getting larger. Put Imadanes on the stack. That's what I'm talking about, baby. This one, discard a card. I'm gonna go ahead and pop this one. I'm gonna get rid of, honestly, Judith. You know what? Judith is in the deck for a reason. We're playing her. Whether we gotta play it now or later, we'll see. Then now I'll just see how kind of combat happens here. Don't want to go all in on combat, be my guest. I think this is a mistake technically. I just trade this off. I don't think I need it anymore. I think I just use it as a spell. And protect from this. Or like use it as a removal spell here. Or left with just a Warden. I untap. I play Shieldred. I go to combat and double attack. Draw, lose 1, gain 1. Then just commit more to the board with NT. NT gonna find me much more value next turn, especially giving Shieldred trample. Like it guarantees a lethal there, because if you're maybe new to Magic, obviously the veterans will know this, but if you're new to Magic, Death Touch and Trample was by far probably one of the craziest combinations of things you can do. With Trample, statistically normally, if you do enough damage, you know you go over. So like Shieldred would deal 2 there, then go over. But with Trample and Death Touch, you only have to assign 1 damage for it to be enough to kill that creature. So the rest of it will actually trample over with NT. Because Shieldred's where I'd put the counter, unless obviously they get rid of it or something. But yeah, very cool. Very cool. Take game 1. Let's move on. Go first. Our hands, not everything we'd ever want, but also like not the work. Diet. Oh, I thought it said diet. I was like, yo, we have a nutrition expert in the chat. Hello. Feed me the deeds. No Magda here to get some extra value. Amethyst? Oh, dude. Our opponent disguised themselves. Let's go to combat. Let's attack here. And we're definitely pitching something. I don't think I'll ever have time for Mirix. But we end up hitting a land, so that's actually really, really nice. This has trample, so they could have blocked if they wanted to, but they're definitely not going to be looking to do so. Now I get to play Preacher, and then I get to go for throw this Analyst out of the way, and then we get to open up some questions. There's a Nissa. They already played a land. Oh, what a find from us, chat. What a find from us. This is actually huge. This might actually break up everything. I'm not going to trigger NT here. I'm just going to double attack and see if there's not like a Preacher block or something. Decline here. My hand's pretty good. Let's see if they block with anything. I'm going to let it freely trade off if that's the case, right? So instead, I'll pop this. Then I will remove this. And then we'll set them to reset. They don't have a red currently, which would get them like an ill-time explosion or something. And then I think from after this turn with NT and Preacher and things like that, I'd like to play the land. I don't really want to play the Gissa because I don't want to feed into an ill-time explosion. It seems just like a bad play in general. Like Hostile Investigator, I'm definitely willing to wheel and deal. I just don't think this is the matchup I'm going to have time to Gissa here. Move to combat. Attack. Let Gissa go. And I'm just really going to ride these creatures while I can. Target the Preacher. We hit a cut down. Not really going to be the best thing of all time. We hit for 6. This is definitely just a memory deluge. Now the play is, I think I just play land. I play this Liliana and I plus getting rid of the Hostile Investigator and then hitting to go for the throw whenever they play this Nissa down. Next turn. I definitely think they're holding memory deluge right now. Turn. Not gonna lie, probably would have done that slightly differently if I remembered that this triggered off everything. There's so many cards that are like, I do this once a turn, or I do this once a turn, or I do that once a turn, that I just sometimes forget. Simple things like that. There's 5 mana. What do you have? What is it? You have a World Soul Rage. Virtue. Okay. They're going for the only play they have, it looks like. So we have to be careful with negate. The only problem is I also have a Lily. So this doesn't matter. Right? I mean, I'm gonna let this resolve, and under end step I'm gonna go for it. I don't care if they have Spell Pierce or not. Step. Nope. I have the spells. I just... Sure. Boy. I'm down to ride or die with this. This hand seems so whack. It seems so loose. But the Mirix does make my red for my my Magda. So let's take a look. Mono red. No! Not mono red. You're going to duress me back? I guess I'll let you take my Liliana. And I just play Magda in the Preacher. Or do I... Actually, no, I just don't let you take my Liliana. Because... Yeah, I just don't let you take my Liliana. Because Sunfall doesn't matter to me if Liliana's plussing, right? That's just basically at the end of the day what we get. And then we just hope to find another source at some point. Here's Magda. Magda can make treasures. Well, I have a way to commit... I do have a way to commit a crime. So... Do I opt to go for the crime or play the Preacher? And I think playing Preacher makes more sense to me anyway. Magda might just get removed here regardless. No? Okay. Play Preacher. Maybe a Get Lost is in hand. Doorkeeper Thrall. No ETBs for me, I guess, my guy. I'm sorry. This is only enter the battlefield? Don't cause abilities trigger? Sure. Sure. That's exactly what I wanted. I don't need the red as much as I need the black. might be a little confused. They're like, mate, you realize you have that Magda right there. But now I just come in with Liliana. Liliana minuses. That commits a crime for Magda.
With the mysteries.
They get rid of their doorkeeper. I go to combat. I get a draw off my preacher where I don't hit the land. But yeah, I mean, we're settling up here. They have land. Maybe they're going to play the Sorin here. All right, Mr. Wandering Emperor guy. Like, you just don't have to do this to me. Messed up of you. Huh. Before combat then, I'm playing as Tiny Bones. So, well, maybe they felt like the Sorin wasn't protected enough. They're just waiting to Sunfall. But this has to be Wandering Emperor if I ever thought of such a thing. Cut down doesn't seem like a card that's necessarily that good, but also I can use it later with Karavak and this Tiny Bone joins up. Because my duress is probably going to have to hit that Farewell or something. Huh. Guess I'll just get rid of Preacher here. I'm like fine with getting rid of Preacher. Yeah, I mean, tell me you're playing Wandering Emperor without telling me you're playing Wandering Emperor, please. Do I double attack? No, I think I just attack with this. If it's not Wandering Emperor, it really was like the Sorin protection plan, which is kind of crazy to me. And now I'm in a weird spot because I don't have... If this was a swamp, we actually kind of crushed this plan. Which is interesting. I play land and then I obviously just hold here. The reason why I was talking about... Oh, it's a flanker. Thankfully, I kept my cut down. Now we see what they do here. They scry 2, gain 2. And then once this happens, I force them to shuffle it away. Yeah, especially because they kept both to the top. Pop your land here. I could have waited till their upkeep, I guess, and done this. So I would have got another treasure. Slight misplay by me. Magda's only once a turn. This is where I was talking about in the game previous where I said, you know, like Inti's once a turn, Magda's like, or Inti's not once a turn, but Magda is once a turn. I still get to cut down this, so like I still get the crime to happen. But it is something that we should consider to make sure that we're keeping kind of on track. You're going to look for a land here. Is okay. If they find a march, they draw the march because it makes sense to. Yeah, for me, I'm just popping this out of the way, making another treasure. And then we can kind of look to tear their hand apart. That land's actually a pretty good draw to make sure I get to do it. I can make a dragon with haste by sacking all my treasures, but I don't necessarily think I want to do that either. I have a way to commit a crime on their turn. I don't think so. So I kind of just have to rip their hand apart now. And also answer Sorin, right? Yeah, I guess so. Let's play Karavak. Target them. Commit our crimes. Cast us to rest. They give up after that. Alright, cool. When it goes first, we have red, black, demo field, molten collapse, creature, shielded, NT. Kind of all seems good. Plus a mulligan just now. Gix and shielded. I would say if you're not mono black, I don't know what we're doing here. Disguising ourselves as a mono red gamer. That would be tough. That'd be tough. Molten collapse, gone. Because molten collapse could pick that up. Retire creature or planeswalker, and then it could pick up like an artifact or something if we want it to. But realistically, it's kind of just in here to take out creatures. If not, depending what they take, I just let it sit under there. Let's see it, opponent. It's a hard choice. They take Inti instead. Wow. I'm going to get value off this because the last thing I want is for them to play a Gix and get more value. And if they deep cavern bat me again, like I can't imagine Inti's even the option that they take. They could also hard dress me. Caravac's an option. There's a preacher, which they set up for, which is fine. Like, obviously, things happen like that. But I'm going to play my own preacher. They're probably going to use a go for a throat and then attack, make a token plus everything else. Or Liliana is just good enough. Well, I think it's the product of being on the draw here. Demo field also not able to be activated. So they only play basic swamps. Miss a land, though. I have a land. Which is cool. Which gets me closer to Gissa. A plus here, what I get rid of. Is NT better or is Magda better if I'm committing crimes? I don't really have a way to commit a crime right now. NT they know about, though. Let us play... Let's play NT then. Because if they plus Liliana before removing the NT, I still get value. Kind of something to think about. They attack, they draw a card off Preacher. I probably just let it hit as well, which is weird. They should attack me with Preacher first. Make me make a choice first here. Instead of allowing me to get an extra card, unfortunately. It's like, this is the thing about NT that a lot of people don't think about. It's like, oh yeah, I guess you did just do that. Now Preacher attacks. Draw anyway. NT's so good and so important here. I don't think I do it. I think I look to attack Liliana down with NT. Maybe discard something else as well. Or they found exactly what they needed. Tragic. Magda plus this seems good, I suppose. The only problem is, like, everything's getting torn apart here. Basically have like a turn to figure this game out. No, I played it the right order. What am I talking about? I thought I played this in the wrong order. I just got so mad at myself. Cause I was like, I need to commit the crime so I have a treasure. And the reason I said we're like kind of getting close in this game is Magda's still on the board. They might remove it. They're gonna hit me draw like 3 cards, which is tough. Now the only real issue is if they can take my entire hand apart, which is definitely possible, of course. My plan is basically to play as Gissa and hope it's good. Which I'll automatically commit a crime for. But I just don't think I could beat this Gix. Not having removal for this Gix is actually costing. Weirdly enough, I don't think Shieldred can stay. Yeah, I have to have this Gix to be the winner. Tapland's not going to do it either. But instead of sitting here struggling, fighting to breathe, I'm just going to concede. This Gix won them the game. Oh man, it's so hard. Whenever you have Preacher and Gix online, it's just such a hard like 1-2 combo to beat. Alright, cool. We'll keep this for sure. We just hope it's an aggro deck, not blue-eye control. They mauled, so they're aggro, right? Control decks don't maul. They just hope they hit the land. I guess Liliana's pretty good into this kind of open scenario, but no more lies is obviously plausible. I'd have to find it the rest before I'd really be willing to slam the Liliana. But it looks like it's mono red, chat. Could be blue red. But I think it's just mono red. Put the little boy in there. Yeah, yep, Alright, well, I have double removal, so go ahead. It's gonna be the hard part about them mauling, but when they maul and they kind of have that tough decision on what to put back, probably means their hand's either really, really good or really, really bad, and they just are kind of forced to keep it regardless. That's like the thing about mulligan decisions. Sometimes it's very obvious and you're like, this hand is perfect, I have way too many lands. Or it's like, you don't want to go down to 5 because you're so afraid of what could happen. Man, what are we doing? Yes, that is fine with me. Go for everything on end step. I'm not really worried about preventing 2 damage in this matchup. Lightning strike. Now that the gates are open, of course. And if it was a play with fire, we'd wait here for them to figure out. Actually, yeah, this is where we level up, right? This is where we evaluate our game as a gamer. Remove this, right? And I could cut down this. Obviously, I'm aware. But this is where we're going to try to level up a little bit. Especially with 3 cards in hand. I know I could cut that down. And normal consensus is I definitely should. But I'm going to play this Liliana. And I'm going to minus here. And now I'm going to hold up my cut down for whenever they play a slick shot from hand and then try to target it with an ancestral anchor. Or a squee. Alright, Phoenix Chick is fine. I'm not letting Squee stick around. Dude, if I would have predicted it though, ripped it. But now Squee's gone. Liliana goes down. Saves a little bit of life, but it is what it is. Witch Stalker Frenzy could be a thing, so I'm just going to play my Preacher and then hold up my Go for the Throat. I promise I do not care about this Phoenix Chick whatsoever. Voldarian Epicure. Okay. Well, that tells me that the door is just wide open. And they're close to Squee. If I actually put that in the yard, they can do it. So I'm just not going to budge at all. We're going to play the Shielder. We're going to hold this land. Actually, I guess with Go for the Throw up, I'm not going to hold that land. I was going to if it meant, like, I have a discard effect for, like, an Inti later to use it as, like, a way to find extra resources. But I guess with just play land drop, hold up, Go for the Third, I probably should just, like, keep that available. Because now they can sack Blood Token and then try to bring Squee back. And then I sacrifice Squee. No bring Squee back here, so I just remove this. And I just let Shielder take the game over like I know she can. We can't come back. They don't have the resources. There's that. I'm at 15, which kind of sucks a little bit because now my Preacher's not going to hit right. But it'll make a 1-1. These all come flying in. Is 1-1 worth it? No. Squee's not going to beat me here. So I attack. My opponent blocks. They take 3. They go to 13. They can escape the Squee, of course. Which then they have 1 mana available. Hold the Shieldred. Maybe they do that. They attack. Or maybe they have a Witch Stalker Frenzy. Pop my Shieldred. And then now I have a backup one. But yeah, they can definitely bring Squee back. They're going to double draw. Play with Fire. Feel like Play with Fire was good enough to maybe keep. But Recognize Warfare and a lethal turn. I think they said good game, but I might have missed it. Down the 1, and unfortunately, I'm just going to end turn. They'll draw, and then they'll take their 2, and they will die. Because even if they drew a Lightning Strike, the damage is already on the stack. Or I guess that's only +1. If it was +2, my, oh my. I guess if they found a way to answer this, obviously the trigger's already on stack, and they have no life gain in the deck, so... Alright, man. On to the outro, I suppose. Alright, well, today wasn't my cleanest day of ever playing Magic the Gathering, but it was fine nevertheless. But what I looked at and I looked out onto was a lot of people playing those Rakdos lizards when we're talking about the new set coming up. And I kind of been trying to figure out how to build Rakdos. And if that deck is solid enough, obviously the rotation has happened on that client and what they got to play with. But it was already good enough, and there's a card I feel like we don't really see a lot of play of, and that is Magda, and we've already been committing a lot of crimes, and can we just not make value out of the treasures, you know? Like, we're already going to commit the crimes. A Tiny Bones into Magda is just so good already. We already accelerate our mana base, and we're going on. We're looking at Shieldreds on turn 3, Hostile Investigators, maybe even we go up on, like, the Tiny Bones instead of playing this duress at all to kind of ensure if we do have a Magda, we have a higher chance to have his Tiny Bones. But things like that where we're just committing crimes and then we're like Bitter Triumph or Go for the Thirding something and then Karavek kind of turning things on for us on our opponent's turn where we use something like a demo field and whatnot. But the reason I kind of wanted to test this out is I've seen a lot of people just playing the lizards, and I'm just curious enough if not Magda wouldn't be solid enough in that list, because a lot of times from what I've seen, they're kind of lacking like the grind factor so far, and the grind factor being okay with one of them that exiles 2 cards, but they're never really in a spot where the mana can support that, and I wonder if Magda can't do that for them. And especially like even if I don't play the lizards, I think the 1 mana one that works off of land drops alone, like the lands, that's just free crimes for this that we don't also have to play the tap lands for. because obviously the tap lands, like the deserts, is kind of like the idea to use. But if I can play a basic and then still ping my opponent and trigger my Magda and then pass and then cut down a creature on their turn, developing more and more treasures along the way, well, maybe that does make a card like Gissa way more valuable. I didn't get to quite do it here today, but I think there was a couple of games where we saw, like, if we did have a Gissa a little bit earlier, or when we weren't such like quite on such a back foot against like the mono black deck, that it would have been perfectly fine and we actually would have got value off of it and made the zombies and everything like that. So this is where I settled. Judith I didn't get to really play. I also don't think, it's weird, right? Because the lifelink part doesn't matter, I guess, and the death touch part doesn't matter, but realistically I was just going to use it to make imps. And then obviously I have a lot of things where, like, if it dies, I guess it's each opponent. I thought it targeted when I first put it in here, so that makes it a lot worse. But regardless, I was thinking, like, maybe if I do have a situation where I'm cut downing a creature already trying to do this instant speed value, that this would be fine. But kind of think about it now, it doesn't actually seem that great, so I'd probably definitely cut this, don't even worry about it. But maybe just do some nonsense where we just go up here, or we just go up here and something like that, just to make sure we're really good against those Boros matchups. But outside of that, I mean, here it is. It was pretty fun. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.